Hi everyone, I'm Marie and we are coming to you live from Living Felt because it's Happy Woolly Wednesday! Oh, the house is full of the most magical fairies and today we are going to needle felt our own happy little beach huts. It seems like a perfect time to go to the beach. Early June, many of us are getting out of what has been the last year, and so maybe it's time to get a little surf and sand into our toes and fingers. So thank you so much for being here today. If you've stumbled across this feed, this is the live show, and hey, if you're watching the playback, then comment down below. Let us know your favorite takeaway. Maybe give us a thumbs up. But to everyone live, thank you so much for being here. We have a chat going on over here, and we hope you'll participate because everyone who participates in the live chat or in the feed down below gets entered to win prizes. So I want to say hi to a few people. Hi to Audrey in the UK. Tons of friends across the pond, by the way. Hi to Polly in Tennessee, who says she already bought her kit for today's show. Christina in Poland. Hi to Cindy all the way in California. Scott in Washington and Erna in Norway. Hi to Diana in Florida, who says today's project's just perfect for living in a beach town. Gretchen's in Georgia, and also Svay's in Georgia. I don't think I've ever said hi to you. Dory in Maryland. Hi to Ula and Karen, both in Sweden, but I don't think they're in the same place. Hi to Linda in Scotland. And to Patty in Ohio. Thank you everyone so much for being here. So hey, listen, this is an interactive hour. We want you to chime in with your own ideas, ask questions, let us know how we can help. And for those of you who do, as I mentioned, we give away prizes at the end. But for everyone who comments down below, we give away prizes too. So for last week's winner, I'm going to give away 2 prizes right now. One to Melanie Malsum and one to Janlyn Addington. You won an MC1 goodie bag, and that's good timing since we'll be working with MC1 also today. Last week, we featured the new class on feltingtutorials.com by Amy Wright Long on needle felting narwhal. So they will be up there for you to enjoy all day today. But without further ado, I have the lovely fairies waiting to share stuff with you that you just might get excited about. And the first up is the lovely fairy Anne.
Yay! Hi friends, thank you so much for being here with us today. We are going to be making these fabulous beach huts, perfect for celebrating either your vacations or your staycations, depending on what you're doing. And we are very excited to announce this is a kit, and it's ready for purchase now. Alrighty, so get yours today so they can ship out tomorrow. They're going to come with all of the wool, the felt sheet that you need, and we are so excited to see what y'all are going to make with it. Yay. Next up is Fairy Alyssa.
Yay! Hello friends, today I am here to share with you something else that you should be buying along with the kit. This foam that doesn't come with the kit, it's for needle felting. It's made in the USA, and this foam is sturdier than most foams, and it is, there's no harmful chemicals in this. I suggest the 10x7 for this, but the 12x12 is even better. Up next is Fairy Holly.
Woo! Hi everyone! So I'm going to show you one of our new felt sheet bundles, which is also inspired by the beach. It is called Beachy Cabana, and you get all these gorgeous colors. So let's see, I can't see them. So we have Royal, Lagoon, Marina, Sage, Coral, and Sand. So you can make all kinds of fun things. You can use them as the background to your needle felting. You can make little banners. And I have a very special surprise for you today. We have a new fairy. Woo! I'm going to welcome. Woo! So everybody say hi to Fairy Angela.
Yay! Hello everyone. I'm Angela. So this is my first live broadcast here. I've got these beautiful assortments of sheep locks. It comes in from different breeds, beautifully dyed green and blue, and these are all natural. It comes in a 1-ounce bag, and it's great for texture. It has such a beachy vibe, we decided to name it Baja Blast. Baja Beach. Yeah, Baja Beach. So it's now up on the site. Yeah. And next is Fairy Kayla.
Hey everybody, Fairy Kayla here. I just wanted to share, I was so inspired by Amy's narwhals and just how fun it was having her here that I made a little narwhal of my own. I'm going to get it really close so you can see him. He's my little iron-on patch I made. Super cute.
Adorable.
I love him. I have a little tote bag actually that every patch I make goes on the tote bag. So it's my little collection of patches that I have. But yeah, super fun. Next question. Now I'm spacing. What is a fish's favorite TV show?
What is the fish's favorite TV show?
Whale of Fortune! Your daily dose of corniness.
I love it.
I'll turn it back over to you, Marie.
Thank you. And I just see a big round of hearts and applause for the fairies. This is our awesome crew. We get to work together all day long and all week long, as a matter of fact. So yeah, they pack your orders. They make everything that we sell. They answer emails. They answer the phone. And hey, they felt too. So what fun it is for me to hang out with them and to hang out with you. So I'm excited to do this project with you. We do have, they mentioned a kit, so you want to get the kit. You can also get the PDF download if you're abroad and you don't want to order the kit. We do have that available. Those are in the instructions, and you're going to want to grab that. We're working with just a few supplies today. Let me bring in a few things to show you. So this is the little picture we're going to make, and we're going to take it all the way to the mounting and finishing stage. As Ann mentioned, working with, I'm going to use this one right here. So we're going to be working with our, go this way, MC1 batting, and this is the range of colors that comes in the kit, and that's what we'll be working with today. And just a few supplies, so you're going to want to grab your needle felting foam. I have the 12 by 12 foam pad here. I have a collection of needles I'll be working with, and I'll talk you through those as I use those needles. Just a couple of more things. You're going to want to grab a wool felt sheet, and I'm going to show you how to cut that down to size. I'll be using a roller blade and just like quilting squares, a roller blade like this to cut, and whatever felting tools you like. I'm just going to use a few, but I'll show a couple of these to you as we work. You'll want to grab a pencil. That's going to be really helpful to get us to where we need to go. And if you have a little mat, like this is just a picture cutting mat that I've cut, and we're going to use this to kind of frame our picture. So this is really looked like this, and then I cut two and cut them apart so that we can frame our picture. That is all you need, just a few things to get you going, and then when we get to the mounting bit, I'll show you that stuff. So the first thing you want to do when you get to this project is to get your pattern, and in the pattern, and it's a really simple pattern, so if you just want to follow along, that's fine too, but we have some directions on here for you, and I'm going to talk you through that right now. Everyone excited, Holly?
They are very excited. We have a question already.
Okay.
What color is that felt sheet?
This one is, you have to tell me, Holly. This one is aspen.
Yeah.
Aspen is like a medium gray. It's kind of close to our winter gray. And then we have a lighter one, which I think we call mist. What do we call
I think it's just light gray.
Oh, light gray. So we have light gray, and then this one that I have here is aspen. Any light color will work because I want you to be able to draw on it with a pencil. So let me grab my chair.
Oh, and Peg Elliott, we can tell everybody, yes, you can come into the store now. She was asking.
Oh, yes, Peg. Oh, yes. We welcome you into the store. We certainly do. Okay. So I'm going to sit for the moment, just to kind of guide you through the process. You're going to want to grab your pattern, and just for convenience, I've taken mine out of the booklet or out of the pattern piece, just so I can work with it with you. And let me show you what you're going to get here. It's so simple, y'all. Basically, we have a little outline, and this square is our pattern. You're going to cut it out of your felt, and if you have quilting squares, for convenience, the pattern inside is a 6.5 inch all the way around. Just leave yourself a little bit of a border so that you can needle felt a little past it. So the inner frame is 6.5 inches, but go ahead and trace it out so that it is a little bit larger. And then you're going to have some extra pieces that you can cut out. Within the pattern also are these little standalone houses are in the pattern. And out of the extra felt that's on the side, go ahead and cut these out. And any other shape you want. Now we just gave you the houses, but I also included a surfboard in my picture. You might want a beach chair or something. Use that extra felt space to cut out these shapes. Your main square and then your little huts. And for now, we're just gonna put these aside. The lines on your drawing are what you want. So I've already traced my perimeter here, and I'll show that to you. I've traced my perimeter, and you should be able to see this on your screen. This is the perimeter. It equals my little shape. Use your straight edge for that if you want to, and leave yourself a balance. Then on your drawing, in your kit, you have these little lines, and let me tell you what they are. You just line this up, and I'm just going to mark the side until I trace my lines. You can see I've probably moved mine a little bit. So here is the, all of this to here is the sky. The sky is actually more about the halfway point, which may be not what you're taught these days. You're taught the rule of thirds, and that might be to have a big sky, you want 2/3 sky, or if you want a little sky and a big foreground, have 2/3 foreground. But what I wanted was the perspective of those beach huts, like right in my face, as if I'm standing like eye level with the beach huts. So the sky is almost at the halfway point, and I'm going to mark that. I'm going to mark that here. That is this is the horizon line. This is just a little guideline to show me where I want the lightest part of my sky. And this is where the strongest part of my sky is, and this is the middle sort of atmosphere, if you will. So I'll show you that as we go together. All of this right here is the ocean, and then this down here is all sand. And that's how we're going to put our picture together. So once you have your lines in place, you can bring them over to the other side as well. I don't know if mine are all level. I'll get my lines straight. So just mark on the outside, and then you can use your straight edge, if it's helpful, to give you a line all the way across. And you don't, you may not need these, but those who know me well know that I see the world in diagonal. So I don't see the world straight, it feels like, and I need every little help I can get to get a straight line. So my little quilting rulers are my favorite. And don't worry if these lines aren't perfect, meaning the measurements. I think I went a little off the halfway point on purpose. Like I found the halfway point and then I adjusted that down. But this is all we want, are some basic guidelines of how we're going to build this picture.
We just have some really
Yeah.
basic questions people
Sure.
are asking. You could do it on a slightly larger square if you wanted to.
Oh, sure. And I'm just going to show you how I'm doing it for this particular pattern. You could make this 4 inches big if you want, or you could make it 12 by 12. I try and do projects that we can strive to get done in an hour. Strive to get done in an hour. And I also chose a size, I think it was last year that we did these little Valentines, and we also did some travel postcards that were like 5 by 7. And I just think of them as like little room accents. So the projects that we do here are sometimes small enough to be like a snack, if you will. And if you want to build on those skills as you go forward, then you can go bigger. And you can even take Laura Rick's class in the school, sitting way over here in the corner, if you want to really go for something more artistic than I could teach you in this hour. Yeah. Anything else?
Yeah, other questions that you actually just answered by using that pencil right there when people were asking
What?
if you could just draw your design onto the felt with a pencil.
Yeah, if you have a light enough fabric, then you can draw on with a pencil, and if you don't, then you can pull out an ink pen. So, and we also use an iron-on transfer pen sometimes, but you don't need that for this project. You don't need an iron-on transfer pen. But you're going to want to grab your fiber, and we're going to start with the darkest part of the sky here. And Holly's just going to interrupt me with your questions. And I'm going to move this out of the way till I need it. Now, so this is how I have the sky kind of broken up, and you can go about it a completely different way if you want to. But here I have, this is MC1 Caspian, and you're going to get this, you're going to get a bigger piece than this. I've already torn it. You only need it as thick as required so that you don't see through to the felt. So I've just peeled back the thickness. And what I'm going to do is lay it so it just stretches beyond the border of my rectangle, my square, basically. I just want it to stretch beyond that. And I want it to be fairly level. And so I'll let it be about this big, and everything's going to mash down. And what we're getting to here is a little blend line. So I'm going to put in this next color. This next color is Marina. And Marina, I'm going to just take it. If you want to tear these, you can tear them like this. Just pull them apart. If you don't have our batting, it's not going to be quite as easy to work with. But again, you only want this as thick as you need so you don't see through it. It doesn't need to be really thick. So you can peel off a layer where needed. And I'm just going to lay it right over this one. Don't just slightly overlap, and don't worry about it being blended yet or anything. But what I want is I want to tear this right here just a little bit straight.
So Deborah is asking if you could use pre-felt as your base instead of a felt sheet.
Well, with pre-felt, pre-felt's not felted. And so pre-felt doesn't have the integrity of felt. So if you're using pre-felt, then you should plan to wet felt it after you've needle felted it. That's the best guidance I have. Okay, then this is a slightly lighter. You can probably see that on your camera. This is called Carnival, and it's slightly lighter than this one. We only need a little tiny strip right here, but actually we're going to end up lightening this even more. So I'm going to peel this off. You see how easy it is to tear. I'm going to tear off a little tiny piece right here, and we want it to be thin. And really, if you can turn this around so that you see that one side looks even lighter than the other side, bats are variegated and you might notice some change in the bat. For this particular part, put the lightest part up. We want the lightest part up, and we want a little overlap. Now I'm going to stop right here in the sky, and we can either needle felt this down, or we can blend the layers a little bit even before we needle felt it down. And sometimes I like to do that. So for example, I'm going to take a little bit of this color and this color, and I like to make a little blend. How I do that is I usually take a 50-50, meaning I know that I have the same ratio of the two colors together. We teach this in like our Cardinal kits and our Fox kits, that we always start with like a 50-50 blend. And the first thing I'm going to do is stack it, pull it apart, and then stack it again. And then now I have a little sandwich that alternates. I'll peel it apart and stack it again. And then I'm just going to keep pulling now and stacking, pulling and stacking, and turn it around. Now the key here is when you're pulling these fibers apart and you're restacking them, that your hands are far enough apart that you're not actually shredding the staple length. This is a very small staple length, but how you'll know that's happening is if your fiber starts pilling and getting these little tiny bits, just like a sweater might. It means you're kind of just being a little too aggressive, or your hands are too close together. You want to just be able to pull it apart and pull it apart. It's going to get a little chunky when you have such a short fiber like that, but it doesn't matter because the sky is going to look a little more realistic with the clouds in it when you let that get variegated. So take a little bit, whatever you like, and don't worry about making a straight strip now. Put in some little patches to cover like that blend line, and let it go above and below.
Can I just take a minute? We have quite a few people asking. They must have missed the Fairy Ann announced the kit, that this is a kit and a downloadable pattern.
Yeah, you can just go to the supply page. You'll see if you go to the description, you'll see that you can choose. You go to the description, it's going to take you to the Beach Hutch page where you can click to rewatch this video after the show if you want. It'll also be on YouTube, but you can also get the link to the kit or the PDF there. Okay, so look, I've just broken up that line a little bit just by chunking down some of this stuff. So save this and set this aside. And then right here where these two come together, we can, that's going to be just fine. What I want is this right here to be just a little bit more white. I'm just going to fill in anything that looks like a gap. And I want a little more white so that we have some clouds. So this is cotton white. It's a lovely natural sheepy white. It's not carbonized, is no harsh chemicals used in it. It's really nice to work with too. So blend a little bit of these two together, and what we want is a little bit of white clouds. And you can go back and add clouds wherever you want, but right along this horizon, I want this to be fairly light and fairly white. And you can always go back and add more. Sometimes I just like to do the blending before I, this kind of hand blending before I needle felt it down, and then I'll be smoothing everything down all together. And I like to put some chunks of the white in the sky too. Now, I'm going to, when we needle felt this, y'all, we're gonna have to do kind of cheatsies, and I'm just gonna needle felt a portion of it so we jump to the next one. But let's start needle felting this area right here, knowing you can always go back and add more. I just like to start on a corner as opposed to in the middle, and always treat like I am working with shelf paper, or you're smoothing out a poster or a drawer liner, and that is because you're pushing air out, and as you push out air, the material also moves, so that if you push towards one direction, then when you get excess, you can peel it off where you want. But if you start just poking in the middle, then you don't have as much control over it. I am working with a cluster of 42 triangle needles. They are very masterfully rubber banded together into this thing we call, that we're just calling it the cluster tool. And occasionally I like to just give a shout out to Jennifer Field in Maine, who taught me this, as she just needle felted them together and uses it as a tool, and I've been using it ever since. Sometimes 4, sometimes 5. Very easy to work with. So notice that, you can see the needle marks right now. It's kind of chunky. Don't worry about that. That's just a part of the process. It's like when you start to mash potatoes, they are not smooth from the moment you start. So just kind of get that down and in place where you want it. And notice your lines underneath here. So you want to go, you can go just past each line. Because we're needle felting and not wet felting, the fibers are only going to migrate down. When you wet felt also, they can go both directions. They go all directions, but they can also come up. When you're needle felting, they're only going to go down, so you can have a slight layer underneath, but you don't want it too bulky, and you don't want more material than you need. You just want to not have any gaps, okay? So already I think our sky is starting to have a little bit of liveliness to it, and anywhere you want to blend more, you can. And also keep in mind, you can come back in and add a cloud. And adding a cloud doesn't require, it doesn't really require a lot of thought. You can pick particular kinds of clouds, but sometimes I like to just plunk something down there. And again, with the pre-blending, take a little bit. This is actually winter gray, which is a medium gray for us. Solid, it's a solid color gray. And you can blend it with the white, or you can also just drop it right there on the base of the cloud to start, and then tack it down. Now, if you're not comfortable using your multi-tool, you can use a single tool. You can also use a little, we call this the righty tool. We have the righty, and we still have the lefty right now. The only difference between the righty and the lefty, which is just a single needle holder, is which way the logo reads. Oh, this is the lefty.
I tell you, everybody loves the rubber band trick. It's hugely popular. Everybody's going to be collecting rubber bands now.
For sure. I always say rubber bands. Okay, so to make my cloud, I really don't fuss about it. I'm going to start somewhere. I kind of see the shape and how I laid it down, and I'm just going to let it kind of do its thing. I think you could really overthink clouds, and this is just a fun, playful picture, so don't stress over it. Have fun and go back and add a little bit wherever you want. And you can always leave something in a draft state. Like, you could take that cloud right there and go, oh, okay, that's kind of a draft, or that dark line feels a little dark. I'm just going to plunk a little bit of white transition over the top to soften it. And you can leave it rough like that until you're ready to come back and deal with it. So for the moment, let's park that cloud right there. We're going to park the sky and let's jump into our ocean. The ocean, we're going to build very much like the sky, and y'all bear with me here as I'm going to kind of, as I said, we're going to leave this part of the picture unfelted so we can jump ahead. We're going to start with Cobalt, and I want a pretty nice band of Cobalt to go across the picture, and because we're going to blend on top of it. So again, remember that this is a very thin piece of how it comes off the batting. The natural batting is thick, kind of like this. So you can peel these layers down, especially when you're going to be putting other colors on top. Give yourself a stretch of Cobalt as wide as you feel comfortable if you're following this same method. And then I'm going to go back in with my Caspian, but not Caspian alone. We need a Caspian and Cobalt blend to get this transition. So again, with our stacking, just take 50-50 approximately, stack and blend like this.
So
Yes.
Diane has a question. She says when she was needle felts her pictures, they come out a little puckered. Is she felting too hard? Like when she pulls them off the foam, is she felting too hard?
What is puckered? Is the material underneath puckered? And what kind of material are you using? This is Diane?
Yes, Diane.
So Diane says when she needle felts, her pictures come off puckered. So Diane, tell us, is the material underneath puckered? Is this stuff puckered on top? Yeah, let us know. And what size needle are you using? And what type of fabric are you using?
It's not just an easy question.
It's not an easy question. Okay, now check this out. I don't want this to be fully homogeneous for me. I want a blend that has variety within it, and you can see different things because the ocean is always moving. This is not a bay, right? It's always moving. It's never still. So this is going to be my transition right here, and I'll just take this and plunk it down right on top because you can always add color on top where you want something darker or lighter. I'm going to put that right on top, and right here at the water line, I actually am going to pull back out my Marina, which is the medium. Marina and Carnival are going to look very similar until you step back a little bit, but this is Marina, and actually I want to blend Marina with a little bit of the Caspian so that it kind of gets chunky too, but I find that it's almost not strong enough to have those two together alone, so I start with a 50-50 blend of them, and then I'm going to take just a little bit of this blend that we made. Not too much, I don't know, a third, a quarter, start with a quarter. What I want are chunks in here. I want it to be like where the water breaks onto the ocean, it's always very active, and you have, the rolls and the multiple depths. So this really will add a lot of movement to the water just to make up this little blend here. And then this is going to be right here along our beach line.
I had a few people ask about using merino top instead of MC1. I'm sure you have.
I think,
thought.
the thing about the merino top is it's going to require a different treatment. So some people are wanting to know, can you do this process with merino top instead of MC1? And I'm going to point you to this. That gorgeous picture right back here in the corner is made with a needle felting and wet felting process, because merino top, the fibers are longer than this, and they're all going in one direction, and when you needle felt them together, the needle wants to slip in between the fibers, and then you find it really is puckered. It doesn't all want to lay down. That's what makes it look unfinished. So you need to finish it with a wet felting process, and in order to get that beautiful finish, let me grab that picture, you should do a different process. So this picture right here is needle felted by Laura Ricks, who is just amazing, and she teaches a wonderful class in the school. So if you want to use merino top and you want to get something a little more like this, in order to get it really smooth and finished, it needs to be wet felted. So if you're working with merino top, I encourage you to check out this class if that's what you want to do, instead of just a straight needle felted picture. It's more about the batting and the short fibers. And did you pop up the link to the school? just the school for that class I was talking about. It's more about, it's a different process. And so to get the merino top smooth, it really needs to be wet felted. Okay, so right here in this little area, I'm just going to put a couple of these little chunks, and it doesn't need to be real uniform. I just want to add some variegation into that water and maybe even where those two colors come together. So again, we're just going to hold everything nice and flat, and this horizon line we actually want very straight. So right here where this comes together, and I want to peeky see where my line is. My line is right about here. Just do whatever you need to peek and see where it is. I'm going to pull this straight. I'm going to pull it straight so that it's nice and level. So go in there with a single needle to start and give yourself a nice straight horizon line. The horizon line, the shoreline can have movement, but the horizon line needs to be straight. So hence the single needle. So again, all of this we're leaving unfinished for the moment. For those who are watching, it's just a matter of time so we can jump to our next part of the picture. And we'll needle felt all of this down. Let it be a bit imperfect. Try not to fuss. Like, kind of let those blends work for you as you lay them down. Kind of just get it tacked down, and then we can go back and add detail. Anything in the water that you want to blend better, wherever you want to add little white caps, you can do after. And this part, I try not to worry about it too much either, because as the water goes in and out, it changes its height. So this does not have to be straight. You can make your decisions once you start to get the breakwater in there and then build on the sand. So the horizon line should be straight. Now, just a couple of things. This is going to have to stay in the draft stage, but here's what I like to do at the horizon line. We've given you a very dark coal gray, which is a beautiful solid color. You're going to take off, you get way more than you need, so take off, it's just great for shading and stuff like that. Take off a very thin piece, and if you want, and I've done this on a few, is I've made a blend with Cobalt back here, or you can also just give yourself a nice straight line back here and then decide if you want to create a blend. So stretch it just so that it's straight, and then tack it down. You can use your 42 triangle or your 40 triangle or your 38 triangle, whatever you're comfortable with. What you want to do is you want to needle felt the fiber so that it's sitting on top of the felt and not punching through to the other side. If your needle is too aggressive, then whenever you needle felt it in, it's just going to kind of disappear. So your needle should be not overly aggressive. Now, that little line helps amazingly right there. And in this, in this scene, we're not even focusing too much on where's the light coming from, like on the water, because we're going to focus on the light sort of being right on the beach huts. And then I have a confession about my beach huts when we get there. I have a confession. Okay, so now that gives us this beautifully dramatic line, but if that's too strong for you, then take your coal, and I'm going to have to jump up to the sand here so we get on to the next phase, because I think we're going to go over a little bit today. You can take your coal and your cobalt, make a very thin, tiny blend, and make it very, very thin and stretch it just back here in this very upper region so that it adds a little depth. It may be hard for you to see where you are, but in your picture, get up close and personal with it and make those little blends until you're happy with it. Now,
everybody's just amazed at how much of a difference just that dark.
Oh,
that
one little thing.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. Okay, now the sand. There's a couple of ways to go on the sand. We've given you latte, which is a wonderful sand. We've given you oatmeal, which would make a wonderful sand. And you can lay either one down as your base. For this run, I'm going to lay oatmeal down, and we're going to put latte on as the accent. And really, it's going to be this simple, y'all. Just lay it down, cover your whole picture, of course. Y'all who've just joined us, ignore this unfinished portion. Lay it down, cover the whole thing, and you can go back and add the accents later. So right now, I'm just going to let this undulate or do whatever it wants to do, and then I'll work that in to the design. I'll let that work itself in. Now, this part, again, I'm using my cluster. Some people might like to use I call the clacky tool. It's the Clover punch tool. Good for kids. It's got this little safety on it. It comes loaded with basically 40 triangles, and you just kind of chunk it down like this. It's not the greatest for controlling all these portions, but it's kind of a quick, like if you just want to go and flatten everything down, you can use a tool like this. It does poke into the foam a little more than I do when I'm holding my piece like this, but right now what you want to do is just get your entire piece covered from sky to ocean to sand using those initial layers. That's your only goal. So let us jump to one that doesn't look too different from this. Except it doesn't have a cloud. This one doesn't have a cloud. So here's a piece very much in draft stage. You still see all the needle marks in it, totally fine. What we want to do though now is start to plan the detail of our piece. So here comes here's the beach huts. The beach huts are our subject. My initial design, I think I got rid of, I had somewhere. My initial design, I had 3 beach huts, but I decided that I wanted to see on this little frame actually, and they were 2 this size and 1 this size or something like that. But I decided I wanted to see more of the ocean. So y'all take whatever liberties you want with this. They're beach huts. This is not serious stuff here. Just have fun. I hope you just have fun. So what's fun is you can move these around and, put them anywhere you want and decide where you want them. These become your little templates, and I'm just going to show you quickly how we use them. I think I'll start with lemon yellow. Gosh, your beach huts can be just any color in the whole wide world. They could be red with white stripes or blue with green stripes or green with white, right?
Yeah,
right?
Anything. Doran, I love her name. She just says this picture is so happy. Everybody just loves. They want to come. They all want to do a field trip to the beach.
Okay, let's do it. We'd have to felt though. Okay, here's why I like to use these little things, and I've been using things like this for many years. They're just a little pattern, a template. So notice all I did was pull my wool off to it's about the size. I'm going to put my little template on top. I want to leave a little bit of perimeter so that I can fold my design back into this, but let's get it pretty close. So use your hands to separate the fiber, pull this off. I'll save all this fiber, of course, none of that is trash, and just peel this a little bit closer. So let's show how to do one beach hut. Pick your spot. My beach huts, I think, are about an inch up off the bottom of the sand. Decide where you want yours. And the first thing we do is this just becomes a little reverse cookie cutter, if you will, a little reverse template. So take a needle, my needle's bent. Take a needle, hold this down. You could use cardboard if you want instead, but because you had the extra felt, it makes it easy to use. And we're just going to trace around the shape.
Deborah says that she's only going to do one beach hut because she loves seeing the ocean.
Oh, yeah, there were so many ways you could go with this project. Okay, so here we go. We're kind of tracing this out. Now, you could needle felt the middle first if you want to, but it doesn't really matter. So now what we're going to do is we have our basic frame. We kind of get the middle part down. And we're just going to fold in all of this excess. Now you want it to be nice and even, and so you've given yourself these little lines. Did I save them? I have some. I also have some that I've cut out of cardboard. Here's an example. Like if you want to use cardstock instead, you can use cardstock to give you a little stronger of a line. You can cut your huts out of cardstock and then use that as your little template. So whatever works for you. It's just if you hit that cardboard, your needle's gonna not be happy.
So Vicky's asking if you could leave the template down and then felt over the top of the template.
You could, yes, you could, but it's going to add some bulk, and I pretty much didn't want much more bulk than the wool was going to give. And then also when you put on the detail, that's more bulk. when you put on the detail, then you've got the door, the window, the roof line, all that stuff. So notice all I did was fold the centers in here. And if you drawing that line with your needle and then folding the edges in, that's how you get a nice clean edge. So that's why you want extra as opposed to too little. If you have, you know, just the torn ends, then you have to deal with all that fluff. So you're going to want to needle felt these nice and smooth because you want to put your door and such on top. And I've saved one back. We'll add the door and roof line and stuff. Yeah. So needle felt this so that it gets all nice and smooth, and just take your time up here and gather all these extra fibers. You know, you'd be pushing, if I had the template underneath, you'd be pushing through a lot more material right now. I think I think that we used pre-felt in the Red Cabin in the Snow. I can't remember now whether we used like a little pre-felt piece on Red Cabin in the Snow. So what you want to do is get needle felt this until it's all nice and smooth. And if it's uneven, then fill in a little bit, you know, with your pieces. If it feels like it's uneven, if you know like you're not going to put a door or a window there or something. If it feels uneven at all, just keep filling in until it gets all nice and even, and keep needle felting. So, you know, use your 40 triangle needle or your 38 triangle needle. They're a little more aggressive. They will help flatten everything out. But go back over it with your yellow needles, whether you use it in a cluster or by themselves, until you get it more smooth. So we're going to jump over here to magic process, the next magic process. And so these are my two beach huts in process, one white, one yellow like I was working on. And to do lines like this, I just take a small strip and a small strip of fiber, and I sort of plan them in advance because it's me, they would be uneven and wonky, I promise. And I let them stick off each end a little bit. Just pull it so that the line is kind of straight how you want it, and start needle felting it at one end. And these the white on the yellow can be kind of thin, so you'll be glad that you have a little extra that you can fold back over. Just fold back over, and that'll give you a nice little clean line. Now these are great big stripes. You know, you might want your stripes going straight up and down. You might want no stripes at all, whatever. And I'll just fold this one back over. Now, to do the roof line is every bit as easy, and to do the doors is every bit as easy. So on this, for example, I think I put a Caspian door, just using all the same colors that I have. So I think I put an orange roof line and a Caspian door. I don't get any more detailed than this. I like these long doors. I like long houses and long doors. I don't know why. Long fingers, long toes, long noses. I don't know why. Now this should have another stripe right here, but let's jump to the door. And to do the door, I'm not any more detailed. I think I'll make this door go to right here. Pull it down, make it straight, and then all you're going to do is kind of guide the wool where you want it to go. Can you see? Guide the wool where you want it to go. And you're going to straighten it up. You're going to straighten it up just by needle felting it where you want it to be. You really don't need a template. You really don't. You can just have a happy little door. Take that top level there and fold it down. As long as you kind of trace out a square or a rectangle with your finger, with your needle, with your needle, then you're going to be able to get something that's pretty straight, and fold in the edges where you can. Now, the only difference between this and the one you're looking at is mine, is that you got to fill it in, as you know, fill it in so that it's semi-solid or whatever. And then I like to go back with the coal and add some accents. I'm going to get the big hook here in a minute. I'm going to try and push forward so I just show you a few more things in the detail. We probably are going to run over it a little bit. Okay, so now the only thing to kind of dress this up a little bit is to add a little coal. At least for me, I like it to look a little ruddy, a little worn, and it doesn't take much. You can take this coal, I'm going to go from, I like to kind of trim it, but not real not real linear, if you know what I mean, not like real hard lines. So I want this coal to kind of just ruddy up the door a little bit and make it look a little worn. So stretch it on loose and then tack it lightly as you go, like right into the sides. And you can make a little window with this same color. So you trace out a little window, use the coal as the window, and we'll just drop a little bit of white in there. Why don't, in this case, why don't we make a round window right there? We'll try that. This one is a little different. I have a little arched window actually, but I don't think we have time to trace it out. Let's see.
Scott
We'll see.
Shattuck says you
I'm
can
gonna
send
add-
him all the unfinished ones and he'll finish them for you.
Let's put on a little roof line real quick. So now for the roof line, the only thing I really do different is sometimes what you can do if you want is to kind of stretch it out and just roll it a little bit to give it just a little bit of body before you put it down. And always I'm going to stick a little bit off the edge there. Just make those roof lines as thick as you want, and you can always go over them a couple of times. So the first one can kind of be the outline, and then you can go back over it. I do find that I get a little bit of sharper lines at the pitch of the roof if you don't bend it. If you bend it, sometimes it just gets a little rounded. So if you, instead of bending it, if you break it off, then you're going to just get a better point. And it may not matter to you at all, but just if you're not getting the point you want, well then break it off or cut the fiber and bend it back, and then give yourself another straight line right there. So we'll just do the same thing here. And you know, on these little houses, add flags. My original drawings had all kinds of stuff. Had little pennants like Holly had made for us, and like I said, I had 3, and one had a seagull on top instead of a flag or a whale. But add whatever you want. I think there was a little life preserver on one. Just have fun with that. And again, so make these as thick as you need to, so that I'm doing like obviously a very quick roughed draft with you all, so that we kind of move along. But have fun with that. And before I jump to the next thing, Holly, is there any questions?
No, everybody's just loving it, and they all have these great ideas of adding rocks and seashells and seagulls and all sorts of
Exactly,
thing. So I think we're going
exactly.
to see a lot of fun
Cool.
variations in our
Okay,
Facebook
so
group.
in a minute I'm going to show you some of the other detail that we have over here. But before we jump too far ahead, before we finish and mount our pieces, let me just show you a little bit of suggestions for the water line, if you will. So to do my sort of crashing waves here, I like to just have it peter out somewhere, like right here. And all I'm doing is taking some white and following that little sand line that I had right there, not even really thinking about it. You know, sometimes the water breaks right on the beach, and sometimes it breaks right back here and comes onto the sand. It doesn't matter, y'all. Have fun with however, and I'm just going to trail it out so it's real thin right here. And you can have a double layer if you want. Sometimes I put something in just to get an eye for it, just to see, you know, how does that look. Now this is the latte we have in the sand. So here we put in just a little bit of latte in the sand compared to the last one. And that's as simple as just going like this, pulling off some little pieces, stretching them across. You can have this sand a little bit darker, and then we've given you one even darker color, chestnut, very popular, great for critters and such. But like right here, we can tuck it right underneath that little wave where it gets the sand wet. And you can make that wet portion of the sand as big as you want. It depends on how wet the sand is, I guess, you know, just make it as big as you want. You can even blend it with the latte, but you can lay down just like a little ghost right there if you want. Just follow your wave line, really. Just follow that little wave line, and just have a little bit of stuff in there.
I love Lynette said, I always feel like I go on a vacation when I needle felt a landscape.
Oh, that's sweet. Now, anything that feels too harsh, here's the magic of layering right here. So anything that feels too harsh or too strong, we'll just take the next lightest color that you had and just put it right over it. So now you're kind of building a layer, but it's not as strong as it was a moment ago. Or you can blend the two together. But sometimes just putting a very light layer over the top can make a nice difference there. And if you want some breaking water out here, you can just let little white caps, you know, you don't even have to think about it too much, sort of like pick a point and drag it out and make them of different sizes, but make them thin or thick, just depends on how much your water is moving, and you can have them in a few different places. Sometimes I just look at the wool that's on in front of me, you know what I mean? Like I haven't really planned it, I've just mixed things up, and then sometimes I just let that guide what's going to happen with the other accents there. Again, this is just MC1 cotton weight. So have fun with that. Now this one is missing a cloud. We added a cloud a moment ago. And you might even add my husband asked for the surfboard. So the details are up to you when you get to this point. Just like the surfboard, you know, adding more clouds. I've added this one. The difference with this one is I actually had latte in the water first. And used very little oatmeal. So you can break it up. We give you enough colors in the kit that you can have fun with however you want your beach huts to go. This one I added gray over the top so that it looked kind of weathered. I also wanted to mention, I have another one here, that it doesn't really matter what color your felt is underneath. So this, I did this one on orange just to show you, or apricot, whatever, coral, whatever we call it, just to show you it doesn't matter because you want 100% coverage so that you cannot see through to the back. And here I did it, on both of these I did like a double little wave thing happening. So the felt sheet underneath doesn't matter, but it is helpful if it's light enough that you can draw on it with your pencil. Now let's get this to the next phase and let's get this ready to mount and display in your house or your beach house or
Ooh, our beach house.
your Airbnb, whatever. Everybody has Airbnbs these days. I don't. Do you, Holly? Do you have an Airbnb?
No.
Okay.
I'd like one.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna cut this. I just put down a little cutting mat underneath, and we're gonna cut this to the 6 by 6.5 by 6.5 inch square, and my lines go all the way to the end, so that's how I can see where my lines are. And I want to cut this square. Now some of you might like the rough edges, but I want it to be very, very clean. And get out my roly cutter thingy. Oh, bear with me here. Well, look at that while I plug in my iron.
So Marla, she might have joined us late. She was asking if this is a kit, and yes, Marla, it is a kit, and it's available right now on the website.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm getting my stuff out of the way, y'all, so I can finish this project without. Sorry, funny. I can't cut sitting down because I know I will slide. Okay, here we go. Sorry for my big head being in the way. We're going to cut this straight. Now you can press it before or after, so why don't I cut it now and then we'll press it after. It doesn't really matter when you cut it, but we are going to steam press it. So a roller blade is really best for this, and this will just make it, oh please roll. I'm not on a mat. I'm not on a proper cutting mat. I left my proper cutting mat at home. Okay, one clean line. Now, if your mat is small enough, whether you have a gridded mat or a mat like this, if you can turn your mat, then everything else can stay where you put it. So you don't have to flip your piece so much. Yeah, I have to cut backwards because it doesn't want to roll. I had to borrow a cutter. I didn't bring my cutter or my rolling mat. That's sad. There we go.
But you brought your wool. That's more important.
Hey. Yeah, I've already got a wonky corner up there. I think the line's right there. Yes. Question.
So, can you do not, let's start that over. Do you need a roller blade, or can you cut it with a regular
You
hockey blade?
can absolutely cut it with regular scissors or a regular blade, but you're just going to get a cleaner cut, you know, with a roller, a rotary cutter. I don't know why I can't speak today.
I have that problem.
Yeah.
If you are going to use a frame, how much unfelted area would you leave?
It really depends on your mat. It really depends on your mat. Oh, see my, I don't have my proper stuff. Okay, it really depends on your mat. So matting, meaning your matting. I meant to bring this out earlier and I forgot to, so bear with me as we jump ahead. So there's our cut piece. When you're deciding how you're going to frame something, if you you buy these off the shelf kind of mattings, right? If you cut them, then what you can do is start to plan your picture. If you cut them, then you can size it. Oh, well, what if it's this big or what if it's this big? And plan where you want your subjects, and that will also tell you how much you will have left. The one thing I will tell you is when you buy off the shelf frames, like if you're going to put it behind glass, you've got to check the depth of that frame, because sometimes this material gets too thick and then the glass and the backing doesn't all want to go together. So you might want to make sure that fits or mount it without glass. Really. We're going to just mount ours on a little piece of cut wood here, and I'll also suggest that you check out our other video on mounting and hanging your fiber artwork, because we have one where we go through a variety of ways you might look at hanging your artwork, whether it's big or small. Whether it's big or small, you can look at a few different ways. The first thing let's do, though, is let's give this a nice steam press. So when you finish your picture, I want to encourage you to go back over it and over it and over it. And then once you feel like you really have everything laying down, if you just are using 100% wool, there's no worry at all in steam pressing it. Now, steam pressing it will not felt it. So definitely get it well felted before you do that. And all the perfectionists I know are looking at my wonky corners. Please forgive me. Forgive me. Okay, I brought in two things here today. Let me show these to you. I brought in a regular cheapo little flat artist canvas panel that's 8x8. You can probably get these in a pack of 8 for, I would imagine, less than $10, but I'm guessing. So this I probably got at Hobby Lobby or Michael's. And this is a wood box. Just like you could paint right on it, or probably use pencils right on it too, and I've just painted it white. And you'll see more on doing this in our framing and mounting video lesson. So if you get a board or a little canvas, it doesn't matter. I just get these little 3M hanging strips, these little damage-free command. These are command strips by 3M, whatever. They've got little sticky on one side, and they have you can't call it Velcro, it's like tooth and hook and loop, right?
Right, yes, hook and loop.
Yeah, hook and loop. Just put it, actually, you have to know where your picture's going to be. I very well could have put it too high there just for a moment. But, and look, this isn't going to the Guggenheim, y'all. This is just going to sit in my house. So this mounting is for stuff that, you don't need to last 100 years. It's just to brighten your day today. You brighten your room today. And then that's going to be in the wrong place. That's okay. I can move all these in because they're just kind of there.
That's what they're for, right?
That's what they're there for. Moving. It's before you mash them down. Yeah, just kind of get them in place. And then we can just sticky our little picture right on top. And the felt is going to stick to that. Boom, boom, boom. There you go. And now you can stick this up on a shelf somewhere. How about right there? What do you think, Holly?
It is so cute. I want to go home and make some tonight.
Yeah, I wish it were bigger. I don't know where I could put it here. Too small. Well, I'll just tuck it over here so y'all can see it.
We'll find a perfect place for it.
That's kind of the quickest. Look, we did it in an hour.
We did it. That's impressive.
And whoever was hollering at me for putting my rotary down without closed is closed now. Sorry. Things are different when you're on the show. I think we did it. We're done.
You did it.
Yeah. That's fun. Well, I hope you guys had fun with that. I can't wait to see what you make. And we're going to give away some prizes right now just for you hanging out with us. So thank you all so much. I hope that after the show, you'll leave a comment down below and let us know your favorite takeaway. And also look for the other hanging and mounting video. We'll try and remember to cue those up after the show. What do you got, Holly? Come on in.
Okay, so we have the kit is what we're giving away today.
Oh, fun. Okay, we're going to draw a couple of names right now. Thanks for playing with us today, guys. Oh, there's lots of names in here. You've been
Crystal
industrious.
Woods.
Crystal Woods, and I have Rose East. We're up here.
Up there. Sorry. I was hoping you weren't going to look at my fingernails.
Rose East and Crystal Woods, congratulations, y'all, for winning. You've won one of our kits. So, look, if you've never ordered anything from us, make sure you go to our website, use the contact us page on the bottom, and let us know that you were a prize winner. Give us just set up an account, and then let us know you're a prize winner, and that way we can ship these right out to you wherever you are. And so look, y'all, if you want to take the Breakwater Beach class with Laura Ricks, check out the school. Lots of amazing tutorials. We also have free classes there as well, and wet felting classes there as well. If you make what we shared today, be sure to tag us on Instagram or Facebook and join our group. That's where we hang out all week long. Yeah, so we can see what you're up to. Right?
Yep.
Listen, next week, more needle felting fun on the oceany, beachy vibe.
Oh,
so
you're going to like it.
it was Holly's idea. Holly's idea, and I'm not going to tell you what it is. You're just going to have to come back next week, and we're going to see you then next week at 2. Thanks, y'all. Bye.
Bye.